G'day YouTube. We're here in the Purpose Built Moto garage with a real quick one today. This is a bike that we haven't done all of that much work on. However, the story needed to be told. Such a wild thing that rolled into our shop a few weeks ago. The rider Matt came into us a little while ago, told us about this original SR500 that he'd purchased. This bike was originally found in the US in a crate in the back of a closed down shop. It's a 1980 model, and at that point in time it had 0 kilometers on it, or miles. It was bought by Deus in Sydney. They stored it and auctioned it off around 2012. I think the auction got passed in and Matt never really let it go out of his mind. He was in the shower one day, thought about it and decided to give the shop a call. They said it was still on the shop floor, so he made an offer and ended up purchasing the bike. Now, once he'd purchased it, got it back to his house on the Gold Coast, he started to put a few kilometers on it, ride it around, but there are a few things that weren't quite right. Being an original bike, this had to be 100% perfect, and during its lifetime, a few things were changed. It had the incorrect mirrors on it, a few bits and pieces under the seat weren't correct, it had a dent on the tank, and it also had the wrong carburetor fitted on it at some point in time when it was in Sydney. So we've gone through it and made this thing 100% original again. We sourced an old carburetor, had that completely restored, made back to factory specs and made to look as brand new as this bike does. And then we've also gone through and just done those little touches, fixing up signs of deterioration due to time, putting the correct parts on it from the right year model, and then fixing up a few things. I think, a few bits of damage had happened along the way as it was being transported from Australia and then also around Sydney. Now, we haven't done all that much work on this thing, like I said before. We've rebuilt the brakes and done a bit of carburetor tuning, major service, and just checked through everything. Not as exciting as our usual custom stuff, but to the right people who really get around these bikes and absolutely love them, I'm sure you'll appreciate just the originality and the sort of purity of this SR500, because as this thing sits, it is absolutely unobtainium. With 173 original miles on the clock, this thing has got to be one of the rarest SR500s out there. And I was stoked to sort of get it in my shop and just see this thing exactly as it was from the factory floor. Absolutely amazing, really original machine. Now, Matt had come in here and had a bit of a chat to us about what he wanted done, and he was a bit wary about some other mechanics and stuff that he'd gone and visited, just didn't feel comfortable bringing him the bike. He sort of came down here, saw the machines that we were working on, obviously realized the passion that we have for these old things, and was pretty comfortable to bring it down and let us work on it. A few of the bits and pieces that we had to manage on this thing was the dent repair on the tank. It had a tiny little sort of size of my fingernail mark on the side of the tank. It was on this side that we had to get PDR'd, and I went through about 3 or 4 guys, and as we told them the story of this motorcycle and what needed to be done to it in keeping it perfectly original, a lot of them just said that they didn't they just wouldn't touch it, because if they did mess it up, that was sort of like going to be the end of the original paint job, which is exactly what we didn't want. We ended up finding a guy, Kev. Him and his son came in, spent a bit of time fiddling with the bike. We obviously had the tank mounted, stripped out, cleaned down for him so he could get a little bit of heat into it and pressed out that dent perfectly. So as it sits right now, we've gone over it, polished up the chrome, fixed some of the deteriorated rubbers, rebuilt the front brakes. Just things from sitting for so long have deteriorated. So we've got this thing back up to A1 condition, and now it's ready for Matty to get out on the road. Now, another thing about this bike being so special is, for a lot of Western markets, the SR500 was discontinued in 1981. So this is a late 80s model manufactured bike. So this would have been one of the last models to go into the US shortly after they were discontinued in Europe, and then just stayed as a Japanese domestic bike until they were re-released. So they had the 400s running, but the 500 stopped. And any of the other ones that you find around are generally imports. So this being an American delivered one, again, adds to that provenance. I'll show you guys some sort of close-ups and really nice visuals of this bike just so you can get a gauge on just how perfect it is, but really unbelievable to actually look at. So the chrome is perfect. The paint is absolutely immaculate. There's no sort of, even the plugs underneath the seat, nothing is out of place. It's as if it came from that guy who clipped all the wiring together, started it up for a run in, put it in a box. That's how we've seen this bike, and I've never ever seen something like this. It's hard enough to find an original SR500 nowadays just because they're so prolific in the custom world. Everyone chops them up, changes the seat. So to have something like this, you know, it might not be the most valuable bike in the world, but something ultra special, and especially with our owner Matt being such a huge fan of this sort of bike, really special to him. So I hope you guys got a kick out of this video. We had a real kick, you know, test riding this thing and getting it back to absolutely perfect condition. So I'll chuck some sort of drone shots over this thing so you can get a real feel around the bike. And yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.